Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 853A, and today's date is December 28th, 2015, and the title of the episode is The U.S. Government Central Bankers Are Sucking the Last Bit of Wealth Out of the People. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Well, it seems as we approach the end of this year, we are getting more and more bad news. And when we look at this economy throughout 2015, we have seen that the real economic indicators that we've been looking at, we're talking about the manufacturing indicators, we're talking about the Fed survey indicators, we're talking about the retail, the real estate indicators, we're talking about everything that the government has a hard time manipulating, things that people kind of control in what they're doing, like taking out mortgage applications. It's very difficult to control that because the people actually have to go out and take the mortgage applications out. Now, can they make it look like people are purchasing homes? Yes, they can give free money to banks, they can give free money to hedge funds, investment companies, have them purchase up thousands upon thousands of homes, hold onto it, and basically rent them out, but do not sell them. They can have the banks go in and they can keep the foreclosures off the market to drive the prices up. Retail, very difficult to mask what is really going on here, and we can see at this point in time through this holiday season that the brick and mortar stores, they are completely falling apart. The online sales are not compensating for the brick and mortar sales. And as we approach the end of this year going into 2016 and more of these numbers come out, what we're going to see is that this holiday season was a complete and utter disaster. And we're getting a lot of information like the Baltic Dry Index, which is hovering around 470 so points, which is very, very low for this time of year. Or actually, it's at the lowest point it's been in the last 20 years or so, or when it has started. And we can see right now that things are actually not getting better whatsoever. Dallas Fed has now reported that it is completely missed its expectations. It has crashed to negative 20.1 from negative 4.9. This tells us that this entire system is crumbling down around us. Right now, the Dallas Fed is in contraction for the 12th month in a row. New orders have crashed. Prices paid and received have plunged. Order growth rates have tumbled. And all hope has now turned negative. So when we look at this, it is not going well. And we look at all the other manufacturing numbers in the past reports, we see that things have not improved whatsoever. We know that the U.S. government central bankers are continually pushing more and more taxes on the people. And what they're doing is they're trying to bring in as much revenue as they possibly can. Because you have to remember, since last June of 2014 to the end of this year, there's almost 1 million people that are laid off. Those people who are laid off either cannot find a job or they have part-time jobs. So what's happening right now is that those people who are making the salaries of 50, 70, 80, 90, 100 or above, they're not making that anymore. And if they're not making that amount, that tax revenue is not flowing into the government. So they had to figure out new ways of bringing in revenue into the government. One of them was Obamacare. And we can see right now that people can't afford it. Actually, what's happening with Obamacare, and this is coming from a new study, it's showing that those people who are on Obamacare are actually paying a lot more than they used to. And Obamacare is sucking up to 10% of American incomes right now. 1 in 10 Obamacare customers who earn between 2 and 5 times the federal poverty level will have coverage costs that exceed 21% of their incomes. And this analysis is done by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the Urban Institute. Median Obamacare customers who earn in that range spends more than 10% of their income on a monthly premiums and out-of-pocket health expenses. Many who have modest incomes have high financial burdens, even with average medical expenses. For those at the top of the health spending distribution, financial burdens are very high. The government right now has now sucked all extra savings from the people. And when we look at this, the premiums are continually rising. They're not falling. It's not affordable. And whatever we have left, the U.S. government central bankers, they're trying to get it. They're trying to get as much as they possibly can right before this entire system collapses all around them. And we're seeing a lot of countries right now moving towards a cashless society. 95% of all retail sales in Sweden right now are cashless. The government of Denmark has stated their goal is eradicating cash by the year 2030. All over the world, we are seeing a relentless march toward a cashless society, and nowhere is this more true than in Northern Europe. In Sweden, hundreds of bank branches no longer accept or dispense cash. Thousands of ATM machines have been permanently removed, and at this point, bills and coins only account for about 2% of the Swedish economy. This is going to happen all throughout the private West central bank countries. This is what they're trying to do because they're very worried of what happened in Cyprus and in Greece, where people went and they actually took out their funds, especially in Greece, because they knew bail-ins were coming. And you have to remember, they become eligible for bail-ins come this January of 2016, and they have already taken most of their money out of the bank. And they're worried about this moving forward because they have all these bail-in documents ready to go. We know the debt is unsustainable. We know the economy is crashing around us. And if they could, right at this moment, they would say there's no cash anywhere. And they're trying to push this agenda forward. Russia right now is making deals with Egypt and India. In Egypt, they're going to sign a $26 billion contract to basically create their first nuclear power plant. And remember, India signed an agreement for 5 units. And we can see that Russia is making deals all over the world, helping different countries. The United States is garrison countries. And this economy that we've been watching has been slowly deteriorating, slowly collapsing. And at this point, the economic indicators show us that this economy is doomed. Yes, if you look at the stock market and you look at the suppression of gold and silver and you look at the manipulated statistical numbers from the government, yes, things seem fine. Actually, if you go back to 2008 and you put yourself in that time period, their numbers looked incredible. You would never know there were problems underneath the surface. It was completely masked from the people. Actually, even the Fed came out and said everything was fine. There is no forecast for any type of recession or depression. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything started falling apart. Well, it wasn't out of nowhere. Those people who were paying attention realized that this was coming. But they made it seem like it came out of nowhere. They're going to do the same thing this time. They're going to make it seem like it came out of nowhere. Actually, they're going to make it seem like another country or group actually caused it. Because this time, there's no way out of it. There's no creating more money to fix the problem. The central bank, the U.S. government has dug this hole so deep, there's no way of getting out of it. And this whole entire system is going to come completely crashing down. And we are approaching that time period. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.